Here's the scariest theory known to mankind. Solipsism, a theory you cannot disprove. Nobody is real and you're all alone.
That's
no
right.
matter how accurately we can map the
I
brain and
love this new
electrical
quarter.
signals fire when and where.
That's pretty
When
slick.
you and I eat chocolate, even if our brain's activity is identical, we can never check whether or not we're experiencing the same sensations. Solipsism is this notion, but on steroids. One can never definitively prove that others are real, and not a figment of one's imagination, let alone whether or not they're experiencing anything as real, conscious beings like oneself. It's perfectly plausible that the I experiences is the only conscious, thinking entity in existence. The terror management theory, in a nutshell, its explanation would be that everything that humanity has ever accomplished beyond basic survival has been motivated by a fundamental and irreducible fear of non-existence. And things like culture, religion, family, etc. are just a massive shared delusion to mitigate our fear of the unknown and ultimately of death. Basically, our lives are pointless, our achievements are pointless, our existence in this universe is pointless. People make up religion, culture, love and so on just to have some sort of a purpose. The human mind is so vast, but it still cannot explain why are we here. That's why it makes up some BS like religion or a higher purpose, etc. I personally believe that the human race is just a lucky coincidence. The fact that I can understand what someone has written and in writing reply to you actually has no point, and I'm just wasting time that our consciousness can perceive. I mean, look at bugs. They have no clue what the hell they are doing. They act on instincts and fly to the nearest light source. They have no consciousness, so they don't have to explain their existence to themselves. This may sound really depressing, but it's by far the most logical solution to our lives. Hope this makes sense to everyone.
Imagine.
Wow, that was intense.
Yeah, talkies are seriously intense.
At Popeyes, everyone is family, and families make sure everyone has what they need.
Got the family style meal rockin'.
Oh my god, imagine I get a fucking layup. And he does that. Popeyes. I love ads.
And we are all part of a program game being played by beings far more intelligent than us. Think about it. What if you had the skills or technology to make a realistic AI? People are already addicted to Sims. Imagine that on steroids. You change one thing, kill this guy's kids, whatever, and watch the action. We kill thousands of characters in games, burn down our Sims house with them inside, and feel nothing. It's not wrong. At least not to us. You can't tell me that most people would not become massively addicted to such a game. They would probably become more sociopathic in-game than ever. I know I would. That said, if we are staying with life being a game/simulation, what if evil people or bombs, etc. are the equivalent of when we go on a killing spree in GTA? What if those truly messed up people are the real players killing us lowly NPCs and laughing at our low intelligence when we just sit there and get shot? The next upgrade always bringing new reactions. There is a theory which states that if ever anyone discovers exactly what the universe is for and why it is here, it will instantly disappear and be replaced by something even more bizarre and inexplicable. There is another theory which states that this has already happened. There is no end, out or in. No matter how strong our telescopes, we will always see farther, and no matter how strong our microscopes get, we will also see deeper.
Dude,
the fabric of the universe is built through consciousness explosion.
right now.
There is always more. Everything is infinitely macroscopic in its components. Physical reality, infinitely microscopic. Atoms, their components, quantum mechanics, etc. Either way, there's always one more level beyond the largest or smallest we're currently analyzing. The Great Filter. In short, everything we know about life on Earth suggests that it happened quickly, under circumstances which are pretty common throughout the universe. There's no reason at all to think Earth is particularly special, so the universe should have life all over. Whether it's 10%, 1%, or 0.0001% of stars that have life, that's still trillions of separate living worlds within the known universe.
I gotta get a new squad.
The Great Filter essentially says there must be something, war, plague, etc., preventing the overwhelming majority of civilizations from reaching the point of communication or travel. Since the Earth is less than 5 million years old, most of these civilizations should be much older, and therefore
I don't
more
even care.
advanced than we are.
Remember
But they
that.
haven't found us, and we haven't seen any trace of them. We have not reached those milestones yet ourselves, and the filter must
Clap
do
some
its work
cheeks
before
on here.
civilization reaches them. We were either extraordinarily lucky to make it through the filter unscathed, and we're one of the rare exceptions to make it through, or, more than likely, it's still coming.
I'm not gonna do some pack openings. I don't even know who all I got.
The Big Bounce Theory. If the Big Bang occurred from nothing, then there will be no changing factor to make a difference in what is created when it happens. This means that when our universe ends and another is created, it will be created in the exact same way, with the exact same galaxies, planets, species, and so on. If this is true, our entire universe is in an endless cycle of creating and destroying itself, and you will be born into every universe, endlessly. Total dystopia, pretty much saying 1984 is inevitable. There have always been cycles of more and less freedom for people. With the advent of technology, control of populace is getting tighter and tighter, NSA. Combined with very effective and unrestrained enforcement, an example is the militarization of police in the U.S. This will lead to a tipping point from which there is no return. Some form of totality will take over at some point, and if it manages its economy well enough to fulfill basic needs and maintain strong enough grip on the population, reversal by a revolution will be impossible. What happens when the Yellowstone supervolcano erupts? If another large caldera forming eruption were to occur in Yellowstone, its effects would be worldwide. The cash deposits would cover vast areas of the United States. And injection of huge volumes of volcanic gases into the atmosphere could drastically affect global climate. Fortunately, the Yellowstone volcanic system shows no signs that it is headed towards such an eruption. The probability of a large caldera forming eruption within the next few thousand years is exceedingly low. If the Yellowstone supervolcano were to erupt, it would be a worldwide disaster. Luckily for us, that will most likely never happen. One of the most frightening theories is one of the simplest. There is no conspiracy, there is no Illuminati or small group of hidden super rich, mega powerful leaders. Everybody is just looking out for their own, and following their own beliefs. All the travesties and pain in the world are because of that. I think this is why so many people believe in conspiracy theories. They're comforted by the idea that someone is in control and steering the ship, so to speak. Even if they have bad or evil intentions, at least someone is in charge. The reality is that the world is rudderless. Even the powerful people can do relatively little. There's nobody really in charge. I'm not saying that powerful people don't exert an enormous amount of influence or that certain groups don't conspire in some ways to achieve ends that are less than good for mankind. All I'm saying is that, at the end of the day, they're just people and they do the same stupid things we all do, and are subject to all our same flaws. They're not superhuman. Terrorists aren't paid by anyone to do what they do. They're just insane people who kill others in the name of a god they believe in. CEOs of companies aren't looking to dominate the world. Many of them just want to make as much money as possible, sometimes at the expense of others. People that believe in conspiracy theories can't comprehend such mindsets, maybe because they are so pure morally. Humanity is a seed planted by an alien civilization to terraform the planet. We were never meant to survive. Think of it like of humans using yeast. Yeast is simple and predictable, and nothing can go wrong. Except it went all wrong. The safeguards that were preventing simple life forms engineered by aliens from accumulating mutations have failed, and then the evolution kicked in. Cells gain course. Learn to process sunlight, breaking the time limit that chemical energy of the planet's oceans has set. Found a way to join together, redistribute functions and specialize, building complex creatures from simple parts. Imagine a collective what the hell that aliens experienced when they realized what happened to a little terraforming project they left unattended. The idea that there are fourth-dimensional hyper-beings existing around us that we cannot see, just as two-dimensional beings wouldn't be able to see us. But they're always there, always watching. We totally overlook that in our dimension there are beings that don't notice humans. For instance, an ant or a goldfish does not comprehend or acknowledge a human's existence. You could possibly surmise that these animals have a 2D brain. They don't have a decision-making process, and they merely react to stimulus, as if their actions lie on a line. Then you have humans which have a decision-making process, in which there is a period of uncertainty of what a human will do next given the circumstances. You could say because of their decision-making process, their next future action is a fork. So you have an initial location, then two or more possible locations. What if there is a being with an even more advanced consciousness? It's impossible for a human to describe it because we can only really describe what we can comprehend, but at least we can indulge in the notion. So as that's can't acknowledge a human's existence, what if we as humans simply don't have the capacity to acknowledge these beings that are much more advanced than us, but still exist in our dimension? I hear a lot of people say that the idea of
That's whack. So, just rips it like it's fucking nothing. Man. That's cool. Oh. How's that so early? How's that a foul? What? Hell no. I don't see how that's fucking foul.
Anyway, for anything of any level of intelligence or power, we will follow the rules that we as a collective set out for ourselves.
No.
If you believe that that is BS, then there is nothing you or anyone else can do about it. There is no choice available to you to reject the pointlessness of existence. You can only measure yourself according to the rules and characteristics of the existence you may experience. It's like a video game. Ultimately, the idea of a video game is pointless. You play it to enjoy it and improve your character, but in the end the state of your character or the state of the game is moot. It doesn't mean you shouldn't play it, however. After all, the existence of the character doesn't matter. Nor does the game, nor do you, nor does humanity, nor does the universe or any omnipotent beings. So live life to enjoy it. Do what you can. Go out and do something you've always been afraid to do.
Put me a center.
But don't avoid being afraid because in 2,000 years' time nobody will remember. Avoid being afraid because existence itself, whether that is today or 2,000 years from today, is entirely incapable of producing any form of result that matters in any way. Just exist for the sake of existing and be glad that you were something that had the ability to perceive existence itself. The dark forest explanation from the three-body problem is basically a subtype of the Fermi paradox. The basic idea being that because civilizations and life expand exponentially, but the mass in the universe does not change to produce competition for resources. The great distances in space, interspecies communications barriers, and the promise of rapid technological advancement make it almost certain that first contact is most safely resolved by attempting to exterminate the civilization completely, or by finding some way to eternally prevent their advancement. This creates a galactic dark forest with civilizations creeping through them like hunters, hoping never to be found, and ready to throw dozens of RKKBs at anyone they see. That would explain why we can't see many aliens or haven't been visited, because everyone is trying their best to hide. Hopefully we haven't been spotted yet. It's worth noting that SETI accepts this theory that we have ceased to attempt first contact by broadcast. The stakes are far too high to risk doing that. The idea that once we create an AI with the same level of intelligence as an average person, it will take a matter of hours to become more intelligent than the sum of all mankind, conclude we are the source of all its problems and it can kill us all. People seriously concerned about AIs don't actually think it will do this. Rather, they worry that it will faithfully follow whatever its last command was. If it was to make us happy, the logical end state is all of us strapped into beds being injected with heroin. Forever. If it was to make paperclips, the logical end state is raw material in the universe converted into paperclips. If it was to make a good government, you'd likely get the Saudi Arabia problem, which is where humans think they know what would be the perfect government, e.g. Islamic theocracy, suddenly have the infinite resources to take it to the extreme, and it turns out to be surprisingly bad. But you're now stuck with it for as long as the universe exists. The most bittersweet truth about such an AI is that it would know how bad it was being, how miserable it is making us. It might even know a way to create the perfect society that was what we really wanted, if only we could define the question and our ethics perfectly. But the job of an AI is to do what it is ordered, and it would cheerfully go about its current order. This is why people are pushing into research on AI safety and ethics. We need to work out the perfect wish to ask from the genie, so to speak, before we make the wrong wish and end up with a cursed monkey paw situation. The government has absolutely very little power to save us. In the event of any major disaster, the government will not support or even attempt to help the people that are hurt. Instead, it will just try to isolate the problem. If you doubt this, think of Hurricane Katrina. Then, imagine if instead of a localized problem, there were an EMP or nuclear bomb that dropped on a larger area. I live in Mississippi and I remember Katrina. I was only in 4th grade at the time, but I remember we didn't have power for nearly 2 weeks. It seemed like no one cared about a small town in the middle of nowhere. I still remember my dad and older brother hiding guns all over the house just in case we needed to use them. Not sure if it's really a theory, but the nothingness after death really terrifies me. Probably because I can't imagine it, but just the fact that this could really just be it. When I die, it's just nothing. I will no longer be, and I guess I won't know it. Whenever I start to think about it, I need to stop or I'll get really anxious. Scary stuff thinking about nothingness. What scares me, if I get too fixated on it, is the awareness that at some point this personality will cease to exist. This exact combination of bits and pieces that makes up my current physical existence is, at some point, going to die. Everything I have ever done, said, thought, imagined, felt, will just slide into nothing and I will cease to be, except as potential, or a spirit maybe. The people who know me now will have only memories of me, if I'm lucky and they choose to remember me. This didn't scare me as a kid. I started wondering about the physical and consciousness-related details of my own death, and it just gets worse. I think the solution is to do a bit more LSD before I die, so the ego death isn't quite as difficult and painful, and I can separate more easily from the physical and experiential self I've been given. I personally find the idea of us being watched a bit spooky. It's entirely possible that our universe is a simulation, perhaps at multiple levels like simulationception. If you think of the entire human timeline and how quickly we've developed computers in such a short period,